Hi everyone. So today I'm going to do one of my absolute favorite videos to do, and that is half of my face. So I want to show you how the little techniques can make such a massive difference, and that it's little elements. So you don't have to do them all. You could just pick one or two pieces, something that's going to suit your day and your lifestyle, and see the difference it makes. So at the moment I have my Skin Matrix SPF 30 on from Neostrata, and I did put on a little bit of foundation on my face but nowhere around my eyes, and that is the Chanel Perfect Lumiere Velvet in shade 30. I only put on a very light layer because I do have tan on at the moment, so I don't find that I need much when I have tan on. But what I'm going to start with is my concealer. So as you can see around my eyes, I get really red and shadowy, as we all tend to. And even brightening this area can give the whole face a lift. So I'm going to use our Instant Under Eye Concealer in the shade Medium. Again, because I have tan on, when I'm a little bit paler, I tend to use light. And I'm going to start low, and I'm going to just give myself a little inverted triangle underneath the eye, and then a little bit on the lid and on the inner corner. Okay, so it's going to just lift out this whole area for me. I'm also going to put a tiny bit just on top of my brow to raise that area up as well. And then I'm going to go in with my concealer brush and just tap it in. So by tapping it in, we are getting maximum coverage from our concealer. So we're getting every little inch of pigment out of it, and really going to lift up the area. By this tapping motion as well, you won't damage the skin around the eye. So a lot of the time when people go and they rub it, you can end up over time dragging and pulling at the skin, and you will damage it over time. So just pushing it in and pushing that little bit on top of my brow as well to lift that area, because as we get older we tend to sit with a little bit of a frown on our face. So by lightening it slightly in here, you lift that area out and you make it brighter. Okay, so it just takes away any sort of darkness around there. And you see now that I have this little bit of light going on as well. If you wanted, I'm just going to grab my light concealer. If you wanted to have more of a lift, just grab a little bit of your light concealer and you can just put it in the areas that you want the lift. Okay, so which would be out there for me, and just tap it in. So it creates this little bit of highlight. Again, it's down to your own personal preference. I kind of find day to day, I don't go for the extra lift or need the extra lift. But sometimes, say if I'm going somewhere or of a night out, I might do it. So see the way it just gives this shape to the face here. So you don't need to set the concealer with powder as long as you've really well tapped it in. If you find that it does crease it all, you've got very crepey lids, I would put a touch of powder on it, but not a lot. But as long as you've really patted it in, you can see now that it's completely set underneath and it doesn't need any more work. So the next thing we're going to do is the brows. So with the brows, you're going to brush it up to make sure there's no product in your brows first. Brush them into place. I could have done that actually with my brush because there's a spoolie on my pencil, sorry. But I always use our Easy Under Eye pencil in the shade brown. And with your brows, wait till you see the differences. Actually, you know what I'm going to do before my brows? I'm going to quickly put on lip liner. This is the Essence Big Purple. No, it's actually not big. It's called Lost in Love from Essence. And I'm just going to do half of my lip, just because I know they look like they disappear. And outline it, just to give that area some shape. Look how much bigger they look already. And then I'm using the MAC Candy Box gloss, just doing the one side. But it just gives shape to the lips there. Look at that. Oh my God, it looks so weird by the end. But with the brows, wait till you see the difference that this is going to make now. So I always start in the middle part, so that if you do tend to go heavy-handed or you apply too much, then you can blend it away. But if you start here with too much, it can end up making it black brow. And I'm going to go really lightly, tiny little flicks, because we want to mimic the hair, and just pull it through, filling in any areas that are sparse, making the brow nice and defined but light, because again, these little light strokes make it look like hair. If I was to just drag it through, then it's going to look like I drew it on, and we don't want that. And then the front, we just flick it up because the hair naturally sits up at the front. Okay, up, up. So this really does lift the whole face. like if I'm not wearing makeup, any kind of base makeup or anything like that, I will still always have my brows filled in, because I just feel that they really frame the face. Like look at that, look at the difference. I mean, it's crazy. It is really genuinely mad, the difference that the brows can make. And then I always brush through it with the spoolie on the other end, just to again make sure it's nice and soft and that it is nicely blended. So pop that away. Next then we're going to do the eyes. I'm going to do the eyes before I do the face, because again I want to show how each little element makes a difference. And I'm just going to do it real soft, but I'm going to use my signature palette for this today. And we're going to start with the lightest colour first, just on your flat shadow, and bring that just onto the brow bone here to give it a little bit of definition. And again, it lifts that brow up more. See the way it's after raising the brow up? It also helps to give you extra working space for your shadow. And then I always put a little bit just here on the inside, because this area tends to get quite dark and shadowy, so we want to lift it out. And then whatever's left of my brush, I will just drag out then. Okay, so you see now I've got a little bit of a frame. Then we're going to go in with our fluffy blender brush and our contour shade. I'm going to take a little bit of that up in the brush, and we're going to just go at the crease line. So keep your eye open, because the brush is shaped and cut so that it'll sit into it, and then just go back and forward. If you have hooded lids, meaning if your lid sits on your lash line, just open your eye, and where your lash meets your skin, that's where your groove is going to be. And just give yourself a little bit of a contour. Same then goes for underneath, so that it doesn't look top heavy. And some people just don't like shadow underneath, so if you don't, you can skip this part, but I always love it just to give me a little bit of outline. Okay. And that's really as much eyeshadow as I'm putting on. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of pencil eyeliner. So this is our Kohl pencil in the shade Deep Brown, and I'm just going to take that and scribble it into the upper lash line. Okay, make sure it joins down here, and take your ring finger and just smudge it so that we get a nice little fade out of the liner, but we still get a bit of definition. Just going to put a bit more there. So still gives the lash line that bit of definition. And then I do like to take it on the lower lash line as well, just to give an extra bit of definition there. Okay, if you want to make that a little darker, what you could do is go in with your signature palette again and your darkest shade on your angle liner brush, and just fill in over it. So because the pencil is there, it just grabs onto that shadow even more. Okay, so see the way now we're starting to come together. I'm going to set my makeup next, and I'm going to use the Laura Mercier loose powder. I'm going to use the same brush as I used for my concealer, and I'm just going to set the areas that I know will shine during the day, which for me is the chin, around the nose, and then the brow, around the brow area. So just those little areas there. Okay, and then we're going to put in next a little bit of colour. So I'm using our Natural Glow palette, but again, you can decide here that you just want blush. You don't need to use bronzer. I'm only showing you because I want to show you all the little bits. But we're going to take some of the bronzer on our angled blush brush. And always remember, when you've taken your bronzer out, when you're doing a nice light look, get rid of the excess and then tap it into the skin so that we don't overdo it. And I'm just going to put a little bit here at the sides of my forehead, onto the temple, a little bit down the side of the nose, and then I'm going to go onto my contour. So from the top to the middle of the ear, and just tap it in to give me a little bit of shape. And then for me, I always just put it on the little front bit of my chin, because I've got a pointy chin. See the way that lifts it up slightly already? It's just the illusion of that little bit of shade. If you have a heavier jawline, put some here, but because mine is so angular, if I put it there, I'm going to make my chin look even longer. So I only ever put it here just to lift this up slightly. Okay, and then we'll go in with a little bit of our Natural Glow blush and just tap it down onto the apple of your cheek, really nice and gently, and tap, tap, tap all the way out to the top of the ear. And then I kind of blend it into the temple as well, so that we get that nice, just joined up effect. So we don't see where one starts and one finishes. We never want to see the lines of difference. And then I'm going to take my Radiance Cream next up on my mini buffer brush and just give myself a little bit of glow on the top of the cheeks. So again, this just takes back that nice healthy glow to the skin and makes you look, I always think just it makes the skin look really youthful. A little bit on the front of the nose. And I like to mix it in with my blush so that it almost makes your blush like a cream blush. But look at the gorgeous glow, and it's really natural. And then the last piece for me is the mascara. So I'm going to use our Total Lash Mascara, and I'm going to use the volumizer on top and the definer on bottom. And then that's basically everything done. I'm going to put this on and then I'll show you because I know it's boring to watch the mascara. That is my mascara on. So as you can see, it's a really, really natural makeup, but look at the difference. So all those little elements can take you from looking just a little bit tired to much brighter. And even when you look at the definition that this side of the face has now, so like, you know, the nice shape of the brow, you've got nice definition on the eyes, but they don't look overdone. And then the same with the face. So it just brightens all up the inside here. It gives me a little bit of structure. And then obviously the lips as well make a big difference. So like I said during it, it's not about doing it all if you don't want to do it all, but it's just knowing that the elements, each element, and seeing the difference each element makes and how it can really give you a lift without, again, having to overload the skin or put on too much if you're just not into wearing a whole lot during the day. So I do hope you enjoyed that one, and I will chat to you soon.